Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from Deltiasgaming.com, and today we're doing a full VMA Trifecta run on my Magicka Nightblade build, Bloodsport. The description below will have timestamps if you wish to skip ahead, including a link to the full build on my website. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, consider turning alerts on, and becoming a member so I can produce more Elder Scrolls Online content. Thanks for watching. Magicka Nightblade, it's absolutely incredible, very, very powerful. So I'm going to kind of walk you through my thought process, talk about advanced strategies, and kind of just showing you the advanced build that I'm running. And really, what the Nightblade excels at is crit damage, high damage, and it has some really nice thing in its active and passive skills to make this content really, really easy. We generate ultimate very easy with the Soul Harvest ability on our front bar. We have a massive amount of healing through our active abilities, both AoE and single target. And we have great sustain as well with siphoning attacks, making it very, very friendly build for newer players to pick up and use. Another added benefit of the Magicka Nightblade is you have Twisting Path, which you can cast right there. I cast my Blockade, so those are both ground effect AoEs you can cast pre-spawn. That's very, very nice because basically it does the work for you and almost kills one mob with you having not to do a whole lot. So the trick to VMA, and I've talked about this in other videos, is really what happens in between the fights. If you can prep and keep up your buffs in between the fights really effectively, you're just going to nuke stuff. So that's kind of what I'm going back to these portals. Now when you start this, you're going to learn the spawns, you're going to learn the positioning over time. So just give it time. Another thing, I dropped a house here, dropped an ultimate. Reason why is I can get it back pretty quickly. So when in doubt, you can drop the house and ultimate nuke down these waves where they're a little bit more HP. But when you start out, usually you want to save your ultimate for the final boss. And you're going to learn on your class how fast you can effectively build up an ultimate in terms for the next fight. So when you start, you're not going to drop the house very liberally. Once you get used to this and do it 3,000 billion times, you're going to know, oh, on a Magicka Nightblade, round 2, I can drop an ult because by round 4, when the boss spawns, I'll be ready to go. So that's just kind of an advanced strategy here. So right now, you can see, look at my ultimate, it's already back up. So I'm not going to drop the house on this guy because I know the boss is coming next, just from experience. So what I'm trying to do is get my resources up in position right on top of here. Right on top. So get my ground effects, get my buffs up, and see if I can take them out right away. So ground effects, I'm a little bit slow here. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, I rebuffed right there, so I lost a little bit of time, but unfortunately, we just have so much gosh darn damage that it doesn't really matter. So we can just do this before he tries to transit. I could improve drastically on that, but we got him down. Round number 2 here, this is pretty easy peasy. The biggest thing is some of the clave damage that happens, and you'll notice little spinny ground effects that come and try to kill you, but they're not that powerful. And you have so much passive healing on this Magicka Nightblade, I'm not even using my shield very often, because my health never really dips. As long as my Swallow Soul is up constantly, you'll notice my health is staying around 80-85%. It might dip here and there when I take a big hit, but otherwise not so much. So it just has so much passive healing that it doesn't matter. And I'm using Consuming Trap. You could take that off once you get better at resource sustain and once you get better at surviving, and put like Orb, Mystic Orb or something like that to do even more damage, even more nasty damage. So just think about it. But when you're starting off, it's very, very helpful for healing, for resource sustain, and just getting you through this, because this is good enough to probably get you close to the leaderboards, if not on top, to get those weekly leaderboards. So I got an ultimate just sitting there. There's really no point when you've become a little bit more proficient at this build and having 500 ultimate. You should drop it pretty liberally at the start of 1 or 2 rounds, especially if later rounds, because the bosses aren't going to come right away, and they get longer and longer. So get a little liberal with your ultimates, because the first couple ones, you can blow through it and get some speed, regenerate that ultimate. Ultimate timing's everything. It really is. So you want to make sure that you can make those boss fights so much easier just by timing it. This one in particular is a bit goofy on timing. It really is, because the animation really determines if you can nuke them down in one go or not. So we're going to see these 3 bosses. You're going to basically get some RNG. They'll do a very long animation where they shoot things up in the air, and usually if you time it just right, you can get them all down just in that time. So right there. So when I practice this, and I'm doing really good playing, I can get one of these guys down. Let's see if I got him. Got him. Okay, good. So that makes it a lot easier. And then the same thing, it's just RNG based. So sometimes they'll do the swipe mechanic, and then it won't go very fast like that one. So you're going to have to do your best to get them down as much as you can. But I would say lean on the side of dropping the house and don't wait for the animation, because if they do proc that one here, you can get them down to pretty much nothing. And this boss is also pretty resource intensive because you're not having ads to kill. You can't be using consuming trap all the time. So I'm kind of recasting things a little bit too soon, and you can see I'm getting kind of low. Just because I don't have all those ads to kill, either consuming trap or if you're using false god, it's going to take a lot out of you. So I use my ultimate there just to do another little burn, throw my ground effects down, and now he's an execute. But I'm just going to get my swallow soul up so I don't die. And bang, we got him down. Stage 3 here, we got a lot of mobs that come in from the platforms. The biggest thing I found to learning this is essentially like what I just did there. My ground effects on one platform, fully charge another one into a attack on the other platform, and then I immediately turn and go to the third one. If you do the timing right and the more practice you get, you can basically just instantly proc these waves of ads. So more on that a little bit later. Also, where you stand on this one, you want to be by that salamander alligator dude, because you can drop the house right after the spawn and get them down along with the ads a lot faster. So what I found in later playthroughs is to stack on top of these mini bosses. This one's a bit mini boss intensive, so being on the platform where the mini boss spawns out of usually makes it go a lot faster. So there I did a fully charged heavy attack. I don't think it landed because it was a little bit too early, but you can see if you time it just right, you have your ground effects on one, fully charged heavy attack on another with the dot, and then you just kind of do a swallow souls on the third platform, and basically 3 of them just instantly vaporize, and they don't even have a chance to attack you. See, fully charged, bang, assassin's will, so he got absolutely dunked on, and then ulti. So I had a good position in here, but I should have dropped my ultimate a little bit early. I hadn't memorized this one. This one's a bit tricky. Because if you don't kill them right away, they'll do a channel, and with that lightning form up, you really don't have a visibility queue to know when it's going on. So be careful with that one. Got my blockade up, fully charged, nuke, see you later, tater, and then bang. So, oh, about got that one down, didn't get quite. So there we go. And usually a dot, just depends on how heavy they are. And if you've done this a million times in a million years, you can basically know exactly which mobs take a fully charged heavy attack and which ones don't. So you'll get more familiar with it. Just hang in there, take some time. And you can see, look at the positioning, why it matters. Now I have to travel over here, now I have to lose damage, and now this boss is just sitting there doing nothing when I could have just nuked it. So you can see that positioning really does matter. This one you're not going to want to use an ultimate because the boss is coming up next. So I'd suggest learning from me, position yourself right there so you can drop your blockade, you can drop your twisting path. That way the boss spawns out of there, you can get it down, quickly take out the ads, and you're good to go. So boss comes, same thing here. You can put twisting, elemental blockade, fully charge heavy, elemental drain on them right here, and get them down. So I didn't cast drain there until the very end. I would recommend casting it pretty quick before you bar swap, because you're going to want the full duration of the ultimate to really take a full effect, especially with Blargs when we drop it. Nuke later. Okay, we're on the flywheel round. This one's pretty easy. What I've learned is kind of doing 2 ground effects on the mobs. The casters usually have a little bit less HP. So as you become more familiar with it, you're going to want to kind of do the ground effects on the casters. Will basically just kill them while you're AFK. In the melee, you kind of focus with your heavy attack funnel channel. That will speed things up significantly. So if you're struggling with that, and then you can drop the house on this particular mob. They have, I guess, call them a heavy if you want. They have a little bit more HP. So ideally, you would drop your ground effects on the opposite side, run over, drop the house, nuke that mob right away, and then you basically take almost no damage or no mechanic. So it comes down to memory. It's like a game of Tetris or something. It just kind of comes down to memory and just calculating where these things go and what they do, like little puzzle pieces. And if you can do that, it's much easier. And yes, the mechanics and how you play is very, very important to VMA, but what I tell people that are struggling with it, it's more memorization. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast yet, so, you know, if I can do it, y'all can do it, is what I'm trying to get at. So these spears, these are the kind of the tough ones. You'll see them kind of strafing back and forth. The reason being is that electrical charge will nuke you. You can bash some of it and interrupt it, but if your HP is below like 20k or something, it's not going to be good for you, so be careful with that.
And then I'm doing a good job on keeping my buffs up. For some reason, of course, as soon as I say that, one of them drops down. But for whatever reason, the Magicka Nightblade, the way I have my bar set up and the way I have my buffs and debuffs set up, it's very easy for me to maintain them. So I would say if you learn anything from this is that set your bar up so it's logical for you, not for me. If it doesn't make sense to have elemental blockade on this bar or this on that, and you just can't properly do it right, no problem. Just switch it up to what makes sense for you. What makes sense for me is having Swallow Souls and Sap on my front bar because I'm doing all my damage up there, right? And it makes sense for me to have my Drain and my Blockade on my back bar because that's kind of my buff bar. So that's why I switched it up here on my Magicka Nightblade. A lot of these builds and skills and gear are pretty similar in terms of magic and stam classes. But the way you set it up, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 class-specific abilities that most likely you're going to use. And that's what's going to determine how you set your bar up. So it might be different than a Magic Dragon Knight, a Magic Templar, based on your class abilities. So, yeah. You're going to save an ultimate here because the boss is coming next. This boss, for some reason I just don't do very well on it. But I think it's all about positioning. So you see where that guy spawns right there? Now you want to position yourself right where the little spider dude crawls down. So let's see what we do here. So I position pretty good. So you want to be right there as they climb down. I'm going to kind of go ahead a little bit so that way they get the full duration of my 2 ground effect AoEs. And then it's just really doing a good job with fly attack weaving, getting my will proc. See, I don't have elemental drain until now. That was a mistake. I should have used that right away and then dropped the destruction staff. That would have done a lot more damage over time. So just be aware. And you're trying to get it down before this fire breath goes off. So I could improve there. Alright, we're on the ice round, and this is kind of like the flawless killer. This is dying to trash mobs all the time. I'll do like flawless runs, and like I'll nuke every boss, but for some reason I'll die on trash. You know, it's what it is. You're gonna have to learn about the range and the melee and where they spawn, and the range can be a little bit annoying, but they have so low HP. So if you time it right, they're just not even a factor if you're doing so much damage like this. Like, look at the health bars. They're just already down. I'm just transiting before anything because I know they're just going to get nuked. So this boss here, you might want to drop an ultimate to start if you have enough, because you can kind of skip their transform phase, which is this. Or you can just, you know, do a lot of damage and nuke it. Use the troll for heavy attacks. So if you're out of juice, you're out of magic before these rounds and these waves spawn, use them for that, exactly that. That'll really make a big difference. I'm going to drop the house because I have tons of ultimate, so I'm going to go nuclear here just because, you know, I want to nuke them. I probably should have saved it for these 2 ogres or whatever they're called because they're a lot heavy hitting. And they'll melee clap you, so you got to be careful not to be in the melee range, because if you are, and both of them hit you at once along with the mage, you're not going to be doing good. So be careful. Try to get one of them down, and that's the biggest thing, is you can get one of the mobs down. Not of them all simultaneously, and that's great if you can, but if you can just, you're taking pressure and you're dying to these rounds, get one mob down. Just absolutely blast on one mob right away, because you're going to take a lot less damage with one of them gone. So I got one of them down. Now this ice dude just sitting there casting and channeling, roger that, just have fun over there. And I do a lot of, you'll see in my positioning on these archer guys, where I'll kind of backpedal a little bit on the platform. The reason I do that is that way that they come towards me off the ice. So, oh, come on, Deltia. Drop the house. When in doubt, look at Blargs. Look at the numbers. It just melts everything, dude. Going nuclear. It feels good. Look, they spawn. The lightning Destro's still going. Killed them. Flattened them. Oh my. It's so good. When you see them health bars just go. Rrr, just love this build, man. It's so good. Just blast. It feels like a cheat code. It's like, oh man, I have to work so hard in other classes. This one, I'm just going to drop an ult, hit sap twice. Everything is dead. And you can see I'm not using sap essence too much. I'm using it mainly in those AoE fights. And when I say AoE, you typically don't want to use sap unless it's about 3 mobs. It seems like 3 mobs is the ideal amount of mobs to cast it on, because it's pretty magic intensive, so you don't want to sit there and spam it. However, I do spam it because it will heal you on top of Swallow Souls. So there are times to actually use it in single target fights. So here we go. You can drop the house here on this guy and just build up another ultimate for the final boss fight. And I've kind of found some better strategies in positioning-wise on this final one. You kind of want to end up on the far one, and what I found is I can do so much damage that the very last spawn, they're coming from the left as we're looking right now, the mobs, the ads. If you do so much damage and you leave the final platform to the top right, what happens is those mobs spawn, but you'll just do so much damage, they won't even reach you in time for the boss to die. That's what you're aiming for in the advanced strategies. I don't get that on this one, I don't think, but if you can, that's what you're kind of looking to do. So this platform here is going to blow it up. Yep, great. So then the next spawn is going to come to our left with the mobs and a certain HP percentage looks like. So we're going to get him down. You see I got a Destro, but I've done so good on other rounds where I just drop the house here and I can basically just finish everything off. And he's sitting there doing the channel right there. And I can basically just get the platform down, everything down, and just nuke it. So look at the HP. See, look, oh, taking some pressure here. Fire off that, get that mage down. See? So it's nice to be back out here because if you time it just right, you don't even have to mess with the ads. Later. Okay, Danger round, Spider round. This one's pretty easy. I guess the best tip I can give you on this one is there's a lot of stuns. And you can kind of set up the round to kind of get those spider dudes on top of the webbing and then kind of cheese it a little bit. If you get them all unlocked at certain times, then they'll just stun them and you can basically have a free like 10 seconds of damage. When I've done really, really good on this round, what I do is I use a combination of my ultimate on the heavies and then these, whatever they're called, on the mini bosses. So I kind of rotate through. If I see there's a heavy spawning, I'll drop an ultimate, just quickly clear it like this guy. And then on the mini bosses, I'll use the webbings, the 5 or 6 webbings, whatever it is, I can't math. And then basically I just kill them instantly as well. So you'll have like 2 mechanics to really go fast through here. That makes it much easier and much faster. And then as you kind of want to prepare the final thing, the final round with the boss to have all of the webbings undone but one. If you do that and then stun the mob around a certain HP threshold, it's basically easy mode. You'll skip every single mechanic possible. So you can kind of like drop the ultimate first and get them down to like 50-60% and then bang. See, so I got this one right here and now it'll reset after these guys are down. And then you kind of prep it again. So that's a good way to get one of the mini bosses down, and now I still have an ultimate. So you can see that's a very long time at last, and you can just absolutely just murk the final boss just doing that. So the webbings come back, and now you're kind of just playing the game of getting the webbings stacked up. And the mini boss that comes after this one, the next spawn wave, will do negate. So you kind of want to either wait for the negate to pop and then drop the Destro ultimate, not fuss with the Destro ultimate, or whatever. So you'll kind of see how this plays out. So I'm going to grab this one. I'm just kind of prepping it. I'm doing pretty good on this playthrough. So yeah, Magicka Nightblade, it's easy to do good when you just absolutely murk everything and your health's at 90%. So it's easy to look good at that time, yeah. And I did this all with a 100k build that I streamed. So I used weird traits and I just used 100,000 gold. So here I'm dropping the house on this guy. And this is the one that does negate, so you can see that was not advantageous because I got 3 seconds of my ult. So what I would recommend is probably saving the ult for another one or waiting for it to drop, then drop it. But you'll learn more of those things. The archers, they're pretty easy. Some of them do channels. If they both hit you at the same time with a melee that stuns you, that's the only time I've really died. And now that we have so much HP, it's a bit easier not to die on those. But that's what you're going to watch out for. And then these ogre guys or whatever, they'll just do a cleave to you. That will do pretty good. You're going to see these mechanics over and over. You can block it and dodge. You just have so much stamina nowadays, it's just really easy to dodge. You'll see on my light armor build, 511, I still dodge a lot because I just have so much stamina. So I use that as a survivability tool instead of just using shield all the time. I use a combination of shields and that. So this is a good one to drop the house with a lurcher. I decided not to, but that's a really good ultimate usage right here. So, and that sap essence with 3 of them just does great. I should have applied my ground effects a little bit earlier, which I didn't, but that's okay. Spider dudes, and here's the guy here. So I'm gonna drop the ult on him. And spider dudes are just harassing me. I almost die. Come on, come on. Now I use my shield. So get my swallow soul back up. I popped him, and I think I had a Consuming Trap on him. So as soon as he died, it's just flood of health. Consuming Trap is really, really good. The more advanced you get, the less you're going to rely on Consuming Trap, especially if you have False Gods and some other sets, and you're really good at light attack weaving. But for this build, I'm playing for the average player that isn't setting world speed record runs. So it's really good. And then as you progress and move on past it, you're going to want to take it off and throw Orb or Shade or something more damage producing on. But it's a great survivability tool. It hits decent on a magic build as well. So it's not like a complete and total just waste of a skill. Okay, so I got this set up, and guess what? We have almost all but the one set up. So you just tap, give them a little love tap here. Little love tap. And then we're going to fully charge. And then guess what? Bang. I said that twice now. I should stop. Okay, ground effects. I got a real good burn on this one. So I'm doing good with my light attack weaves. Potion comes off cooldown. We got him down real good. Boom, Assassin's Will. And then my twisting's falling off here. So I'm going to just kind of burn through here and not reapply my buffs. And just absolutely destroy it with a Soul Harvest into an Impale Weave. Got it. My least favorite round. Yeah, I've mentioned this before. Not fun. But, yeah. With the magic build, it's much easier than stamina, because if you get hit with the green poison stuff, you can survive with shields. If not, you're kind of hosed. Your main thing in these beginning rounds is really to learn where the archers spawn. So I'm getting my memory back on where they spawn specifically, and that's what's going to make these so much easier, because the archers are the ones that can actually just kill you in a couple shots, especially if they channel. So the melee, there's no point in stacking on the melee. Bring the melee to the archer. See, Deltia? Yes, better. Bring the melee to the archer. Archer ain't moving. Melee is moving. Trolley roly poly, so you get your ground effects up, you can kind of skip this channel thing here, and goes a little faster if you drop a Desti. And be pretty liberal with the Destro ults here on this one, because there's going to be a lot of trolls and mini bosses, and this one's just going to take a while. And just be patient, it just takes a while. I was like, oh, here we go, this one's not fun. And then once you get through the initial round, now the little extra ad's going to start coming. So you have to be aware of where your feet are at all times, because those plumes will just pop up. So that's kind of what I'm aware of. And I just kind of threw a ground effect and an initial damage, and so if the mob was about 25%, I just walked away because I knew the ground effect would kill it. And then my body lit up with a Consuming Trap. Once the mob dies, you'll see your body. See that? Boop. Lights up blue. That's how you know your Consuming Trap procced and something died. So I missed the spawn there of where I should have been. I should have been on the troll, dropped a Destro, and just completely nuked it. But I didn't. And so it channels. Not a big deal. You can still get through it. And I just fire a couple things, just blow it up. Okay, now we're getting to some more archers. So it progressively gets more archer intense, just because why wouldn't it? So again, learn where the spawns are, bring the melee all together, and then have your ground effects down. A couple saps you should be able to get down. Fully charge if you can, right before, and Assassin's Will. So a couple melee spawns, and then we're going to get in the archer progressive spawns here. And then we're going to have to be aware of where our feet are, because at the most inopportune time, guess who's going to show up? Plume guy or gal, I don't even know what, but Assassin's Will to the face. It just feels so good popping that. And then this guy is just annoying, so we're going to get our ground effects down, drop a Desti, and then put a drain on. That's the proper way to do it. So I get my ground effects, drop the Desti, and then I hit a drain right before I bar swap. That's the ideal way to do it. Because all that resistance, you're going to just debuff their... It seems like they're wearing nothing. It's kind of like where they're wearing glass. And so that Destro ult is just going to do work. Especially if they're heavy armored and they're very tanky. It just does incredible amount of damage. So, twisting, blockade, Desti, elemental drain, bar swap, completely nuked. And then now I'm starting to remember where these mobs spawn. So, the archers. So this is the perfect way to stack it, right? So you stack it right on top. You got the two ground effects. And then the archer's pretty much just dead, just sitting there through the ground effects. So that's the best way to do it, if you can. This next spawn is where some people die, and that's where the archers spawn. So we just got bad RNG with this dude that popped up. What I'd recommend doing with that one is if you can park right where those other archers were and kill that one. If you kill that one right initially with your ground effects, fully charged heavy, and just burst it down, then dealing with two of them is quite easy. That's the best way I found to deal with it. So there's a 2 troll one here. You can drop a Destro, but I'd like to save it for the boss burn coming up next. So just up to you, but I really like the boss burn. It's hard to skip through these, and you'll notice my mat is getting pretty low. So either Consuming Trap or fully charged heavy attack like that.
try to get him through, and then I would weave it into a consuming trap, because if both those things proc, we would have much more magic than we do now. So boss round, this one's super annoying. I don't know what else to say, but it just sucks. So you got to kind of sit here and then just wait for him to proc this thing that will have the 2 adds down, and you can either bash or sit in the little tunnel thing. It seems like the resistances or aggros or just something ramps up, so I don't even mess with it once it does this. It's just much easier for me to kill it like this. So I stack here, drop my Destro, I got my down effects. The nice thing about that was I was in range. I was in range of kind of my ground effects, so it's not 45 meters away, and then that just doesn't work. So we got this guy down. We have a friend that popped up, but he's gone. And then now it's not aggroed, so it's much easier. I should say not aggro, but it's not enraged like if you just bash it. So it's much easier to do this burn. And just making sure your swallow souls up and just kind of chitin, getting away from them, and impale. Next up, fire. The fire round. This one's pretty just ad intensive, really. And then at the final mechanic to kind of introduce you to the totems that you have to destroy. And then like kind of a tough lurcher boss guy. So what I like to do is just drop ultimates on the lurcher guy. Just the Destro on the back bar, it's just going to blow it up. Same thing as the archer premise, really, with this is when they spawn a bunch of adds, the goal is to kill one quickly. Because if you can get one down quickly, they're not going to cross heal, they're not going to do all these channels and get you frustrated. So the goal is if I can blow up one really quickly, that's what I want to do. So I got a drain on him, so I've kind of prepped him up. So Deltia, drop your ultimate, there you go. So I got a drain on him, he's ready to go. You put your Destro on him, he ain't gonna be no problem. Just smoke him, get him out of there. Next thing, just more ad waves. Learn where this spawns. This guy is the most important one because he'll do a channel that will just ruin your day. So I got my blockade down. You can put a drain on him right before you bar swap if you want, but he goes down pretty quick. So shocks come up. Same thing. 2 ground effects. I'm going to sap 3 of them. I mean, they just blow up. If you can memorize these spawns like this, things just get absolutely dunked on, and it makes it so much easier. So I'm really getting it down with this build now. That's why I'm just blowing everything up. But it will take time. So we got the totem spawn, our lurcher friend, and we'll probably get a couple adds down. So you can see the Destro is getting pretty close to the proc in here. A couple adds. He's doing a channel, he's not too worried about it. And so you can save your ultimate here because he's down 25%, but it just goes much smoother if you drop the house as soon as that totem goes down. It's going to flatten all the adds that stack up. This one can be a bit tricky, so you have to kind of run quickly over here and then try to just fully charge and just get this guy down. Yep, so I got him down right away. Okay, now I just go to the healer. Yes, cool. Nice 2H uppercut, dude. Not an issue. Got him down. That, if you get a good start on that, it's much easier. And then here, the 2H guys are really not that much of a pressure. I see I dodged there a couple times. It's just so much easier to avoid damage with those dodge mechanics now because I have tons of stamina with this new update. And you're kind of position yourself right back here for this flame dude because they'll do the channel. And so that's what will kill people on this round is that channel right there. So you're going to eliminate that target quickly. Desty later. Shield up because this guy will hit hard at melee range, and I'm just going to kite him and do a dodge roll. If you block it, it seems like it still stuns you, so I just do roly polies on that one. It's just so much easier roly polying. And position yourself quickly. Shut up, Deltia. Get over here. Get over here. Get over here. You want to nuke this one right away. So rebuff. And you can this one I've died. I don't know how many times. Not to the boss. This one. Die all the time to that one. So get that one down quickly, and the rest of these are so super easy. Otherwise, they'll go into that channel and cross heal and make your life hell. So if you can get them down quickly, get them off the battlefield, it'll be so much easier. You can see now I get some saps, and I'm kind of backpedaling because I know where the next spawn's coming. So I'm trying to get it positioned so that way they spawn right away. I can move in, and then this boss will ruin your day. So try to get the healer down primarily. And then the boss will kind of position on top of the other one, and then you can just use ground effects and simultaneously kill them both versus just focusing on one. And the next one is going to be, oh, banner dropped up, boss round. So you don't want to use your ultimate, it'll make it so much easier. So you got about 5 seconds starting now. You really want to get your buffs up and try to just absolutely blast one of these. You got to get 3 of them down. So I did really good there. Fully charge, bang.
fully charged here. Got Assassin's Will procced, so I missed one. So I'm trying to prime the area. As soon as these go down, I can just nuke the boss here. So boss goes down. So I got my ground effects, got my blockade, got my twisting up. Now I can just do my sap, whatever, weave, and bang. No mechanics. Final one here, final round. Very, very similar, just slow and steady. The thing that kills you on these initial ones are basically if you get stunned by the melee assassin-ish character. That's the biggest thing. And so you're trying to find where the range people come and spawn, because the melee is going to come to you, right? So if you can position yourself, remember these spawns, and go, oh, hey, the melee guy is right here, so I better position myself by the healer, so the melee guy stacks on top. That's getting annoying. And then basically it makes it much easier. Oh boy, you guys are popping ults. You're just going all out with your healing, aren't you? That's fine. Take an impale. The dudes here, these Daedroth, the cream guard, like, freak people out. But you can just face tank on Magicka Nightblade. I mean, just see ya. So I wouldn't get too excited about them. You can shield before they spawned, and just that'll give you a good 6 seconds or so, 5 seconds or so, to do a ton of damage to them. But I wouldn't get too excited with it. Between your Swallow Souls, a consuming trap going off on an extra ad, there really shouldn't be that intensive. So I got my Spectral Explosion thing here. The Spectral Explosions are really kind of get bugged out. Like if you try to hit a synergy key on top of one of the sigils, it'll kind of bug out, and just you got to be careful where you're standing, because there's no priority system. So you could use a sigil when you don't want to. I think I do in this video, but it's like on a round that doesn't even matter, so that kind of frustrates me. Getting them down. We got a bunch of ad spawn. I got a Desti. Be liberal with the Destis, especially starting off, because I got 500 ultimate. What are you doing with 500 ultimate, Deltia? You keep telling people you don't have 500 ultimate. Here I am. Well, get liberal with them. On this ogre dude, whatever, just drop the house and just flatten them so it takes 5 seconds, 2 seconds versus 30. Because you're going to get ultimates back pretty quick on this one. So we got, I think, a guy that shoots down here pretty soon. But I should have built back up and gone a lot faster. So I would have stacked on top of the healer, not the Daedroth in that instance. And I would put a consuming trap on him if you're struggling. The healer, that is. Because that way, if it goes down to AoE while the cream guard's peppering you, bang, you'll get a flood of healing. Don't even have to worry about it. So that's a good strategy if you're struggling with the cream guards. And then you'll see, just putting these guys in their place. The resources are fantastic. And then we got this dude here, so you can use a Spectral Explosion and or an ultimate and just, you know, ruin their day. Deltia, drop your ultimate. Okay, I did a real good job there. I didn't have my Merciless up, but I did a real good job with Twisting, Blockade, Elemental Drain. So I'm trying to walk this guy back so that way he eats the Destro. Just makes him easier. Yeah, just things are just getting obliterated on this build. It's just so, it's actually fun to watch. It's like, oh man, imagine playing it. You're just gonna obliterate things. It's so fun. Oh, stun me. See, that's what can kill you. But I have so much passive healing that, doesn't really matter. Magicka Nightblade. In my opinion, Magicka Nightblade is the best in PvE. Magicka Nightblade, Magic Sork, Stam Sork seem to be just crazy good. Just whatever flavor you want. I think I actually like the mechanics of Magic Sork, like the feeling of using crystal frags, but Magicka Nightblade, filthy. You can change a couple morphs and have really good group utility too. So if you use funnel health instead of swallow souls, you know, you could have some good group utility as well. So it's just a great class, really fun to play, looks slick, does a lot of things really, really good. Ultimate gen, it's just a powerhouse. It really is. It's so much fun. So Crim Guard here, it's gonna blow them up. Then we got the little travelers. Biggest thing is the travelers do have some HP, so you know, you could throw some ground effects on them, trying to wipe them before they get going. And then usually I think if some of the spawns, they'll just wait for one person to be up, and then they'll respawn it. Some of the spawns, you have to wipe every single thing out. So you'll actually learn, oh, I can just get these 2 out of 3 down, and that will bring the next spawn to keep on going. And so we got the Ogrim dude peppering me here. That's fine. I'm getting the 2 ads down. And then ultimate-wise, you kind of want to maybe time it, because I think the dragon dude's going to spawn next round, so we probably won't drop the house on this guy. But again, 500 ultimate, Deltia doesn't do a whole lot of good. Drop it earlier. Soul Tether's a good one too if you're struggling with survivability. Soul Tether can be really nice because it's not going to do the damage of Destro, but it's going to get you through these Krem guards for sure. So, you know, if you're struggling, swap in something else. It's okay. You don't have to stick to the exact same build or bar setup. Oh, I got nuked. Consuming Trap. So I popped a Consuming Trap right on him. That really put me back up. And Blockade. And so I did it too early there. So I lost 2 seconds of that. And I should have done a drain right on the back. So, yeah. I could have got 2 more seconds of Desti on him, but you can see it doesn't even matter. Just so much damage. My God. Even through a mistake. Just absolutely no mechanics. Love it. Love it. Bringing the melee over to our Archer dude. 1 sap. Little X here. I got my Spectral Explosion. So I can use that when I want. And you got a timer on the Spectral Explosion. So don't freak out and think, oh, I got to use it right now. You do kind of want to either get another one or use it. Otherwise, it'll go to waste. So you can kind of save it for the final boss, too, if you actually time it really well. But, yeah, speaking of final boss, I think it's coming up here. So get him down. We got a Spectral Explosion. It's running off. It's running off. It's running off. And pop it. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Buff up. The purpose of this, drop your Destro. Okay, now, get him to 70. If you get him to 70, your life's going to be much easier, because you're going to have an ad spawn, and then the little dogs are going to spawn. So, dog spawn here. I skipped all the mechanics. No Krem guard, no hard stuff. This makes it so much easier if you can do this. Then we go up. Fine, you're healing yourself. I don't give a rip. Okay, so then, ground effects, and I'm kind of facing the boss. So, I do a dodge. And then usually I can get this one down before the next one comes up, if I get my buffs and my timings up really well. So ground effects and then range damage it down. So I'm trying to get that, read that range here. Yep, got it. Okay. So getting these down, and if I get a Desti in time, the next phase will be so much easier as well. But it's just so strong. And do a drain on these too, because you're going to get resource sustain and it's just going to die much easier. So you can see my ultimate down there where we're at 250. Yep, we got one. So you can play it safe or just go Ultra Nuke. Ultra Nuke is drop the Destro right now and absolutely blast him. Playing it safe is waiting for the Krem guard. So I don't want to record this video again, so I'm playing it safe. But if I were you and you're going really fast, I mean, you drop the Destro, we don't have to mess with anything else. So don't play it safe, as the better you get. If I dropped the Destro there, I shouldn't have. I should have just done it earlier. But yeah, that's a build. Absolutely murked them. I appreciate you watching. More classes, more builds to come. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks.